Welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I'm your host, WIZE, and my next guest is truly a friend of the podcast. One of the first guys that I really connected when I started podcasting. He's a fellow podcaster, an author, overall great guy. Welcome to the show, Tim Beisiegel.
What's up?
What's going on, man?
Just over here trying to live the dream one nightmare at a time. You know how it goes.
Well, it's a good week so far for you until Sunday.
Yeah.
Your Detroit Lions are in the playoffs. They've won more playoff games in the last couple of weeks than they have in the last, I don't know, 30, 40 years. So, yeah.
I'm 47, and 2 playoff wins is the most I've ever seen in my life.
Rightfully so. They're a pretty good team. They're well coached. Dan Campbell is a great coach.
Yeah. There's an energy there, and it's fun to watch. It's just a whole shift in the mentality and the environment around that organization. And as a Lions fan, it's been a long time coming, and it's weird, but it's fun.
And I appreciate you actually stepping up and being a guest. I was supposed to be at Podfest, but plans changed, and I had to cancel my trip. But I need to fill some slots in, so thank you. I appreciate you stepping up. And
anytime, man. I love your show. I'm always willing to come on and shoot the crap with you, talk with you. You know,
and you guys are doing. Oh my God, the guests that you're having on your show right now. Like, I've seen some of the guests you've had, the lineups, and I'm like, sometimes I wish I was a entertainment podcast, because you just have some phenomenal guests, man.
We've had a good run of luck. I will say that it's been a lot of fun, and I'm always excited. You know, the cool thing for me is that probably 95% of the people that come on our show are not people that we take just to take. You know, if somebody reaches out to us and says, "Hey, we want to put our client on your show," from a PR firm or whatever, 95% of those are not that. 95% of the people who are on my show are people that I have some level of excitement of wanting to talk to. There's a reason why they're on my show, because so for instance, this past Friday, is a guy you may not have heard of before, but his name is Roger Christian. He was an Academy Award winner who worked with George Lucas on Star Wars. He was a set designer, and he's the reason why Luke Skywalker's lightsaber in A New Hope looks the way it is. He's this lightsaber designer. He's the reason why Star Wars has blue milk. He's the reason why Mos Eisley Cantina looks the way it does. And, you know, so all these things that we see in Star Wars now were George Lucas's ideas brought to life by Roger Christian. And it's really cool. It was a really cool conversation, because not only that, I mean, he worked on Monty Python's Life of Brian, which is one of my all-time favorite Monty movies. And, you know, there's a whole lot of other stuff, but it's kind of cool for me like that, because there's a connection there for a reason why I wanted to talk with him, you know, because I want to talk with him about, okay, so we all know the story of that they use the Graflex handles, but what was it about the Graflex handles that made that be the thing that was used, and why, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of cool to have those kind of conversations for me anyway, because I am a nerd. I like nerdy things, and to have people who've done the nerdy things on my show is kind of the reason I do this. So,
and we're gonna touch on that right now, because you are writing blogs and everything, and you're a huge Star Wars fan.
Massive, so yes.
You actually get to write blogs on your love for Star Wars and everything, and I've read a couple of your blogs, and they were
thanks,
fantastic. How does it feel writing for what is it, Dork and Dork?
Well, I used to write for the Dork Side of the Force.
Yes.
I don't write for them anymore. I just switched a little while back to a website called Couch Soup, and they have a YouTube presence as well. But Couch Soup is it's a pop culture website, so I can write about. The thing I liked about that is on Dork Side I could only write about Star Wars. my love for nerdiness isn't limited to just Star Wars. So I've written about anything from Star Wars to, I wrote an article about Bluey, the kids show on on Couch Soup, and it's all kinds of cool stuff. I wrote a Godzilla article and all these different things. So yeah, used to be just Star Wars on Dork Side of the Force, and that's kind of where I cut my teeth a little bit, and I'm still cutting my teeth. Let's not oversell this, but yeah. So I've been writing for Couch Soup for a little bit, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun thus far. And matter of fact, I'm writing an article for them right now about 3 Star Wars characters from animation that need to make a live action appearance.
Okay, all right. Um, you mentioned Godzilla, and right now I've been watching and I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. I've been actually watching Monarch's Legacy of Monsters, and
Mhm.
I've kind of enjoyed it. I would like to know what's your take on it. Have you watched the series or?
I have only watched bits and snippets. I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan, to be honest with you. So, in all fairness, the Godzilla article that I wrote was about how even though the 1998 movie with Matthew Broderick sucked, the the soundtrack was slamming, and how good the soundtrack was.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty good soundtrack.
Yeah, that was one with like Rage Against the Machine, their song "No Shelter." There was early Foo Fighters song on there. There was Green Day. There was Jamiroquai. There was a couple of bands you've probably never heard of before in your life that had some really cool songs on there. Ben Folds Five and a few others. It was a really cool soundtrack for its time.
Yeah,
But the people that I do know that love Godzilla absolutely love the Monarch show.
yeah.
And a matter of fact, a couple of the guys that write for Couch Soup have um, they've had a whole series on Couch Soup about the Monarch series and their views and thoughts of it. One of the guys, Dan, is a massive Godzilla fan. I think he likes Godzilla like I like Star Wars.
Okay.
And so this year has been awesome for him between -1 and the Monarch show. He's in Godzilla heaven, and he can't wait for Godzilla versus Kong coming up. So
Oh well, yeah, Godzilla and Kong. The what is it? The New Empire.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I love entertainment. I love pop culture, and I love watching
Hmm.
movies and sci-fi and all types. And I would and I kind of get jealous of you guys because you guys get to talk about it on your shows so much. And of course, Stuck in My Mind is not a pop culture podcast, and but eventually I might veer in that lane one day and just do a show. Don't know
Yeah.
about what yet, but we'll see.
Well, you can do it like Seinfeld, a show about nothing. Just have people
It,
on.
it could be. It could be.
It could be. It could be a thing.
So, going back to the show, man, you guys are killing it.
Thank you.
You're one of the top podcasts as far as pop culture goes, man. You and your co-hosts, you guys are very knowledgeable in what y'all talk about. When you have your guests on, you guys really know what questions to ask, and I enjoy it. I learn a lot about the actors, and I get to learn a lot about some of the behind the scenes stuff that went on, and so
Hmm.
it's really cool. I enjoyed the one with one of my favorite ones is because I'm a big Gotham fan. So
Oh, okay.
When you had Selena,
Yeah. Yeah. Cameron Bikendova.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah. She
Um,
was a lot of fun. She's an absolute sweetheart. Just, for a young person to have the level of fame that she reached so early, and
yeah,
because of such a big show. Um, sometimes you expect people to kind of have like an air about them or, like the nose a little bit up in the
oh,
air.
no, she was very down to earth.
Oh, extremely down to earth.
That episode was funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
She's
see you
great.
guys really enjoyed it, and she had a great time with you guys. So, like I said, it was one of my favorite episodes. And then the Sam Whitmer episode as
Yeah.
well.
Whitwer. Yeah.
Whitwer, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. We've been lucky to have him on the show twice now, and if I could arrange it, it would be every week. But that's that's a whole nother topic because I don't want to fanboy too much when he comes on. It's a little hard not for me too, but I mean, he voices, next to Darth Vader, he voices my favorite villain in Star Wars, which is Darth Maul. And I love his take on Darth Maul and his development of the character through Clone Wars and Rebels, and I just like his ability to, as an actor as well. So there's a lot of different things that Sam does that I think are really very cool. So having had him on the show twice, it was kind of the second one. I was not as fanboying, but I was still on the, over on the side, kind of like, he's there, he's on the screen.
Yeah. And okay. And so you are the one who inspired this little guy right here. You're the one who inspired
Yes,
this
sir.
little guy right here. Because I saw your pop and I'm like, oh no, I gotta have one of those. So
you mean this guy right here?
Yeah, that guy right there inspired that guy over there. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I gotta have one of those. And so I went and I created mine. And as soon as I created, I sent you a message that told you this was your fault. You're the reason why I created
I'm
that.
glad I could influence you to spend some money.
Oh man, it was and I love it, man. My grandson loves it too. So and I have my nephew, he wants me to make him one. So we'll see if I'll make him one for his birthday or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But it was I was like, oh man, I want to get that. That's so cool.
Yeah. They changed up their design capabilities a little bit. So like the image that you used for the promo of this was the original Funko that I was going to get. And then they changed it up a little bit. And then some of the things that you see in that image, I couldn't get anymore. Like the style of glasses had changed and what, what was available and what wasn't. I was like, so after a little bit, I was like, just like, well, okay, I guess I'll, but I'm still very happy with it. I'm still very excited about it. Because I mean, I have Funko Pops of everyone else.
Yeah.
I was like, so the opportunity to have one for myself was, a kind of a no-brainer.
All right. So let's okay, I got some questions I want to ask. All right.
Yeah, right away.
So tell us about what because you've changed the name of the FSF POPCAST.
Yes.
So I love the new name. I love the new intro. Everything you got. Actually, you run one of your commercials during Poppy J and Wise El Jefe, so to help support the show. What was the driving force between you? What was the driving force for you to really change the show, change the show and the direction you wanted to go with the show?
Well, so we used to be called the Funny Science Fiction Podcast.
Yes.
And that was the original name. And that was the name given to the show by the original owner of the IP. And so his name was Drayton Allen. I say was, like he's deceased. Drayton is very much alive, still writing books. He's a science fiction author and a friend of the family. And so he had started this Facebook page called Funny Science Fiction. That page is still available as Funny Science Fiction. It's a group page. And currently, we have about 214,000 members in the Facebook group. And we share podcast episodes in there and everything with all our followers. But then there's also, if you like stupid, silly science fiction memes and silly stories and videos and all that kind of stuff, that's the place for it. That's where that all gets shared. And but anyway, so Drayton Allen had started this, and Drayton had received some advice to promote the genre, not necessarily the book, and that so anyway, so he started the group. He needed some help in it. I knew a couple of his sons, and he asked me if I wanted to help admin. So I did. And so I was at the time doing the other show that I had called Focused on Forward, which was a mental health and wellness podcast. And I interviewed his son because his son had with their daughter had some serious health issues, and they had right from the jump. So like as soon as she was born, she spent like her first 3 or 4 months of her life, I believe, in the NICU. I'd have to go back and double check it, but like we spent 3 months with our daughter when she was 12 in the ICU, in and out of the ICU, and his daughter lived like for her first 4 months hanging on by like a fingernail in the ICU, trying to get her healthy enough to, live on her own. And so we went through all that, and we got done, and Drayton was like, well, why don't we start a podcast? We're listening to this. And so we did. And that's how it started. So it was his idea. It was his podcast. I was just kind of there. I was kind of helping. As we moved forward, Drayton was busy with other things in life, writing more books and everything. So he stepped back. I carried on, and he just told me, he said, hey, run the show how you want to run it. And so about 20 episodes in, I took over and just kind of started running it. And about a year ago, I bought the IP from him. And the way this worked is that I also had a secondary podcast at the time. So at one time in my life, I was doing 3 podcasts at once, which was stupid. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of scheduling, a lot of interviews, a lot of editing. And when you're a one-man band, stupid. So anyway,
don't remind me.
Yeah, I was spending way too much time with headphones on, with over the ear cans, so I could do editing and hear everything. And but yeah, so I had another show called Pop Culture Addicts. And so when I took over, which Kathleen and I started Pop Culture Addicts because we weren't really sure what was going on with the Funny Science Fiction podcast and what was going to happen with it. And if anything was going to go sideways with that, if it was going to go away, I still wanted, I liked the format of the show that I had basically built. Yeah. And I wanted to be able to keep it going. So I started Pop Culture Addicts as a just in case. That was my safety net. And we only did about 45 episodes in that. And then I bought the IP and we shut it down. And so when we did that, we thought, well, we don't want to do just, we did everything pop culture on Pop Culture Addicts.
Yeah.
But on Funny Science Fiction, we were only strictly doing science fiction. Yeah. There were no fantasy interviews. There were no pop culture interviews with musicians or anything else. It was just strictly science fiction. So I said, well, if we're going to do this, I want to be able to open it up. But if I can't send an interview request to somebody that's not science fiction based to the Funny Science Fiction podcast, it's never going to fly. They're never going to come. So we decided to rename it as the FSF, still kind of honoring our roots, beginnings, because we always called ourselves the FSF. When we were talking about Funny Science Fiction, we were always like, over on FSF, because we were going by initials. So we thought, well, that's kind of a no-brainer. And then Jeff DeWaskin, actually, from Classic Conversations.
Shout out to Jeff DeWaskin, who's going to actually be speaking at Podfest this week.
There you go. Yeah, Jeff's a good buddy of mine and of yours, and he's just a good dude, and he's been a great mentor over the years for me, and being able to bounce ideas off him just like I do with you.
Yeah.
And he's been really cool about it. And he came up, he's like, why don't you find a way to combine the names? And he gave me one suggestion. I made one small little tweak to it, and it became the FSF POPCAST, because we FSF for Funny Science Fiction, Pop because I wanted to do that. We want to do pop culture. And so, but that's the Bill J. LeClock to tell you the time version of how we got to where we're at.
Yeah. Well, shout out once again to Jeff DeWaskin, because he is amazing. Now, he's amazing. He is that dude. But I don't, hopefully he don't hear this and let it go to his head.
Oh, I'm sure he does. As much as I love Jeff, he doesn't need this for it to go to his head. Love you, Jeff.
Yeah, we love you, Jeff. We definitely do. Jeff's a great guy. Jeff is one of the few fellow podcasters that I've actually got to hang out with in person. And we've hung out the last 2 years at Podfest, so it's been cool to really sit down and get to know him personally and hang out with him personally. So it's it's an amazing group that we know. We hang out with some of the best people in podcasting, man. That are
Absolutely.
so supportive and definitely are looking out for each other and always want that's for each other.
That's one of the things I love about the indie podcast community is that, if you meet up with some of these people and, very few of them I have met in person. There's very few of that are in our core group that I've actually met in person. But the simple fact is that they're all good guys and they're all trying to do the same thing that you're doing. Everybody's trying to move forward and everybody's trying to do well. And so it's been a really cool journey over the last couple of years to see everybody be so supportive and whenever somebody's got something going, to see the way that our little tribe, our little community kind of gets behind them and helps push, and it's a really cool thing to see.
No, and you know what? It was like last year. Um, you guys had to me and what like you guys had a great year last year. I've seen some of the interviews. Just it being one of the top pop culture podcasts and on good pods. Um, just seeing your success, seeing the success that Mick Mahan is having with the
Hmm.
scene snobs and everything,
He's
and
crushing
him
it.
having to change his format and that because now it's just him
Hmm.
and but seeing the success of that, seeing the success of classic conversations with Jeff Dewalski, just seeing where Jeff is taking his show, it's like man, I'm surrounded by some amazing content creators and amazing podcasters, and that just inspires me and motivates me to like, all right, gotta keep grinding, gotta keep going. And last year was one of the best years for Stuck in My Mind podcast.
Yeah.
And it has a lot to do with the support I get from you guys. Um, Feel Better, shout out to Feel Better who helped me automate my podcast and do a lot of things and help me set up a lot of things that has helped the growth of the podcast. You got Jeffrey Villa who kind
Hmm.
of every time there's a new tool that he sees, he's always sharing it with me, and I'm always learning something new. It's just been amazing to see the growth of
Oh,
a
great.
lot of the shows.
I absolutely agree. Some of the things that I've seen over the last couple of years, like you said, it inspires you to push forward. And one of the things that I love about our community is that there's a healthy level of competition.
Mhm.
Just, oh, so you got this guest? Okay, I got to go get this guest. So you got that guest? I got to go get this guest. And so that's kind of fun. One of the other things I love too is that um, there's never, because I've interviewed some of the same people that Jeff Dewaskin has, after he's interviewed them, and or vice versa, or he's gotten some of the people that I've interviewed after we've had him on our show. And it's never been, especially with Jeff, it's never been a oh well, so you're copying our show, that type of thing. It's always been really cool because his show and our show, even though we're both pop culture interview shows, we have different avenues
Style.
that we go,
Yeah.
different styles, and we have different types of conversations, and it's um so it's kind of fun because one of the cool things is so like for example, one of the ones that we've both done is Burt Ward, who played Robin on the 1960s Batman show.
Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So if you go listen to his interview with Burt Ward and you go listen to my interview with Burt Ward, you'll get some of the questions that I think are kind of similar because of what Burt was trying to promote. So there's going to be some similarities in those couple questions. But past that, we have completely different conversations, and it's really kind of cool to see a different spectrum for each, from each show of that one individual. And that's one of the things I do like as well about our group is that every one of the podcasters we've just talked about, they all have their own flair, their own style, and they
Mhm.
all bring something different and unique to the table. So when it comes to podcasting, it may have a similar guest or a similar topic, but you are going to get completely different takes and information from those shows. So you can't, in my opinion, you can't watch too much of it because you're not going to get the same thing.
And I had Michael Spedden on yesterday, and we talked about everybody's show and everything. and I told him, man, like sometimes I look at you guys and I kind of be like, I'm kind of envious because y'all doing the pop culture and y'all get all these great interviews and all. And he goes, yeah, but we admire your show because you inspire people, and that kind of touched me when he said that. He was like, yeah, we yeah, you, as much as you envy us for the guests and all the show and all the cool people that we have on our shows. He goes, but I guarantee you, everybody in that group are inspired by you because of what you're doing, because you're willing to go in and help inspire people and motivate people, and to me that was humbling because I didn't look at it that way. Because
Yeah,
like I said,
absolutely.
it was me. I'm like, oh man, I got some great guests, and
But he's right though. I mean, even looking at it from my perspective, I had to shut down Focus on Forward because I couldn't compete with Stuck in My Mind. So, uh, no, that's not why I shut it down.
I
But,
know, I
but no,
know, I know, I
but no,
know.
he's right though. I mean, a lot of the people that you have on your show, I mean, they may not be celebrity in the same vein, but they may be a celebrity in a different arena. And the conversations that you're having are not the conversations we're having, because the conversations you're having have impact and they have bonus to people's life. 9 times out of 10, the conversations I'm having with people on my show um, are about, well, not that we asked this question, but uh, how long did it take you to get in costume? We never asked that question, but you know what I'm saying. It's just there's a different level there, and so yeah, I miss the type of show that you do. I actually miss Focused on Forward, and I don't know if or when I'll ever bring it back, but that's still that piece that's very much here for me, that misses the type of conversations that you typically have on this show. This one not included, but where people get inspired to go do something.
Oh no, but sometimes I I love to have my fellow podcasters come on and chat and talk because we've like oh, man, I've seen your show grow and you've seen my show grow
Hmm.
and it's great to have this community where again, like you said, we're very supportive of each other. We're very competitive, but we're also very supportive of each other,
Absolutely.
and we want the best for each other. And so to have that respect and love from you guys, it's really it's it's yesterday. Like when he said that to me, it kind of it humbled me because I was like, wow, like I'm looking at because like I said, I was looking at it as like, oh man, these guys are all the cool interviews. When he said, yo, listen, I guarantee you, a lot of people in our group admire what you do.
Absolutely.
We wish we could do what you're doing, and I was like,
100%.
okay.
100%. He's absolutely right. You earned your spot at the cool kids table a long time ago, so you ain't got to worry about that. So I'm
I
still working on it,
appreciate
but
that.
you've been there for a while.
I
So
appreciate it, man. No, again, it's me learning from a lot of you guys. That's looking at what you guys are doing.
the same.
Even just as far as promoting and how you structure shows and just looking at you guys, it's just like I said, it motivates me to keep grinding and to just find ways to improve and make my show better and help me take it to the next level.
Matter of fact, so you're talking about people, one show influencing the other. One of the reasons why we updated our graphics and our logos because I saw yours come out and I was like, man, that's cool. We got to do something like Wise. Hey guys, check out this is his intro. We got to do something better. And so, you know, so
And
yeah,
it's I remember when I didn't have an intro or when it was it's just a growth, man. It's just me growing and wanting to improve and definitely and looking at all you guys doing all your great stuff. And I'm like, all right, I need a cool intro. I need to do this. I need
yeah,
to work on graphics and like I said, like I told you, you inspired my Funko Pop. So it's I'm definitely always looking at what you guys are doing and if I feel like, hey, man, I could use something like that, or I can apply something similar to that into what I'm doing. And so it's me still learning from you guys and
Oh,
just
that finger gets pointed right back at you, because I watch your show, and I watch the style of questions you ask and how you ask your questions, how you lead into things. I've been watching you for a while. So yeah, it's, we all definitely lean on one another. We all definitely watch one another, learn from one another. And I love it when because we have a group chat.
yes.
And it's cool when that group chat is active, and it can go from 0 to 60 like
In no
that.
time. Yeah.
And you can look away from your phone for 5 seconds, and you've got 20 messages there to try to play catch up on.
Yeah.
Poor Maria
Um,
trying to catch up with all the nerd conversation.
it's not it's a great group. This just from that group from the like last week when I reached out to everybody, I was like, hey, listen, I got a couple of days open.
Hmm.
Who's available? I got Rich Perry to come on Monday. Then I had Michael
Yep.
Spedman on yesterday, and then you, of course, today. And it was good to have people to first of all to have Rich, who was new to the group, come experience how we work and experience how because then now I love that our community, because once you become a part of our community, it's like you're stuck with us.
Once you're in, you're in.
Yeah,
It's like the mafia. There's only one
can't get
way
rid of us.
out.
No,
Absolutely.
yeah, no, you're stuck with us now. Once you get with, and it was great because he's actually in I guess a couple of towns over. He's in Wilkes-Barre. I'm in Tobyhanna, so it was cool because then Stacy's also in that same town where he's at. So
Okay.
it's cool because now I'm a well, we've said that we're gonna connect more and they're gonna host some events in Wilkes-Barre that I want to go attend. It's just it's great to really be able to associate with so many like-minded people and
Oh, absolutely.
just be able to, like you said, bounce ideas off each other. It's always something that if you always have a question, you can always throw the question into the group chat and someone is gonna have an answer. And if not, we'll
Absolutely.
try to figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the great thing. You're like, hey, hey, have you guys tried this service or this product? And if and the thing that I like about our group over like random podcasting groups is it's never just very rarely do our conversations go down to, hey, what microphone you using? And so any of those other podcasting groups, I swear to God, 90% of the conversations there are, what microphone are you using? What's your setup? What kit are you running? Which
Uh,
gets old after a while. I'm like, there's more to talk about in podcasting than what microphone you use and why you're using that microphone.
and listen, and again, it's you can. There are mics out there that you can get from like I got Poppy J a Rode mic
Hmm.
and paid $99 for it, but it's a great mic. It
Yeah.
sounds great. So it's not all about always spending money on great equipment. There's inexpensive equipment that you can get out there and still sound good.
Find the one that works for you.
Yeah. So there's always something out there that
Oh,
you just got to
absolutely.
make it your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But oh man, this is fun, man. I love having you on the show.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy being here always. Yeah, as soon as you popped in there that you needed a guest, it's like me, pick me. Ooh, ooh, this
So I
guy.
got
Right here.
I got a serious question though.
Yeah, fire away.
So how do you balance your roles as a podcast host, contributor, and studio owner? Because you have your own company, um,
Hmm.
and stay deeply connected to pop culture.
Very, very carefully. Um, it's difficult because uh, it, there's too much pop culture for me to consume, just by myself. That's the great thing
Yeah.
about having two amazing co-hosts and a great editor, is that they're out there, they're watching things, they're reading things, they're doing things as well, and so they could be like, hey, I saw this thing, we should talk about that. So it gets a chance where it's not just my ideas, my influence. There's Kathleen and Ben as well. So Kathleen and Ben are both really smart when it comes to pop culture, and they have they have great ideas and great takes on things. So it makes it really easy for me because I can take some of their ideas and things, and and Ben has been a breath of fresh air into the podcast because he's got some really cool insights and ideas, especially when it comes to more fantasy related things, because we didn't ever do really a lot about fantasy stuff, and he's very big into like Lord of the Rings and that kind of stuff. And so yeah, it's been kind of cool to have him um,
Well, I
more
do.
involved in the show.
I see you have an RPG kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. We started that 2 years ago because I just that was the idea of, I think, Kathleen and John. They brought it to the table and they said, and Nick, who was with the show at the time, was like, yeah, that'd be a great idea. It'd be, some fun content. It'd be easy content, because when you're making content a couple times a week, and it's not that you're looking to, like, keep it and go eat, and slum on your guests. But every once in a while you want, you got to put something out there that's a little easier for you.
yeah,
And so the RPG is easier for us because it's a night where we just get to have fun and we get to play, and it's content, yeah, in the truest sense of the form. It is content, but and that's been one of the things that's been helped with that work balance thing, is that that's one less thing I have to plan for each month. Is that okay? So this show on the second Monday of every month, John, our editor, he's also our game master. He's going to run that show. I unplug for that show. All I got to do is show up, roll some dice, and have some fun, drink some tea, and laugh with my friends. That's great. Um, when it comes to everything else in life, I have an amazingly awesome and supportive wife who, by the way, love you, honey. Happy 26th anniversary today. Um, and, she is just, my wife, Shayna, is phenomenal. More, yeah, I we could sit here all day and I could tell you why my wife is so awesome and all the cool things that she does, and how supportive she is of me, and me chasing my dreams, and the things that I want to do, and yeah. So without her, I don't do this. Without her, I'm not able to do the things that I'm doing, because she's the one who, when I talked about going out and being a contributing writer for Dork Side of the Force, and learning and reaching out to Couch Soup and doing all these things, she's like, absolutely, go do it. Yeah, chase that.
and
Um,
I know what you mean. It was like when I started the podcast, my wife was like, she saw how serious I was, how into it, and she's like, because I was a big gamer. I spent
mhm,
hours gaming, hours, hours,
mhm,
hours. And when I started podcasting, I just completely abandoned it. And she goes, um, I see you're serious about this. This is something that you've completely abandoned. Your PlayStation is over there collecting dust. What can we do to make this something worth your time and doing and build? So she's helped me launch Real Wise Productions. She's encouraged me to continue to do the show. And she's seeing it pay off with a couple of things that are coming up, and
mhm.
opportunities that are arising from doing the podcast.
Same.
And
Yeah,
and she might not watch the show at all, but she is my number one fan. Like, she might
agreed.
not have not seen an episode of Stuck in My Mind at all, but she is my number one fan. She'll wear the merch. She'll be supportive. And she has my back. And she'll like, okay, what time you recording? 5. Okay, that's your time. Go do what you got to do.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna bother you. Go
yeah.
ahead.
My wife's been
Go do
very
that.
much the same way. It's amazing if you look at it. I mean, yeah. Without my wife, I'd be swimming upstream. I feel like I'm not on a fast boat. I'm on a slow boat towards my goals. I have some goals out there that are in the distance that um I really hope will happen. Things I'm reaching for, things I would love to have happen, but a few things got to get put in the to build that bridge in front of me. But in the meantime, my wife is back there going, "Oh, you need me to help you row the boat? Okay, let's do this. Which direction are we going?" And she's there for me, and it's amazing. I there's no way I do what I do without her. So
Yeah, I know what you mean. I definitely know what you mean. Um, I can't have her hear this because then it'll get to her head. But no, she's my number one cheerleader. She's always got my back.
yeah,
She could have easily been, dude, you're 40 something years old and you want to do a what?
exactly.
A podcast?
You want to do what now?
Yeah. So no, she's
You're
always
gonna make how much from this?
yeah.
Nothing? Really?
Nothing. Oh, okay. Yeah. But she sees the long game from it. She sees this
Yeah.
long game and just the fact that she sees how much I love it, how much I'm
Yeah.
passionate about it. So
You know,
she
yeah, because for my wife at the beginning, it was very much she saw that it was how positively it impacted my mental health.
yeah.
And because at the time when I first started podcasting, like we said, it was with the Focused on Forward show, and that was because of a result of what happened with my daughter at the
Oh yeah.
hospital. And so it was, for me, it was very much uh, therapeutic in the way that I would talk to people and you know, hear their stories and what they were going through and how they were dealing with it moving forward. And so that's how it all began. It all started off as something very therapeutic for me because I was still trying to unsort, you know, some of the things that had kind of happened.
Yeah.
But you know, but then after that, when I got started with Funny Science Fiction, the FSF Popcast, you know, and how that moved forward, she saw that not only did the, you know, the same mental health aspect stayed, but my joy of podcasting was going through the roof because I was getting to talk to and you know, with people that basically shaped my childhood, and you know, all these different things and these shows that shaped my childhood, and you know, and my adult version of childhood, you know. So yeah, there was yeah, I'm a 47-year-old you know, 13-year-old. That's just the way this works. So
I think my wife would say the same thing. I'm a
yeah,
47-year-old, 13-year-old. Yeah. I
yeah,
think she would.
I'm yeah, I always tell people that I have 3 children, my wife has 4, because she had to raise me too. So
Yeah. But it's funny because when I got with my wife, right, one of the first things she said, she asked me like, "Do you have a passport?" I'm like, "No, I had never had a passport or whatever." And she goes, "Well, we need to remedy that." And we we would within that next couple of weeks, we was working on getting my passport, and since then I've had it stamped quite a few times in other countries. So she's really uplifted me and really made me a better person. So I am
yep,
very grateful for having her in my life. She's uh she's a pain, but she's my pain, and she really pushes me to be a better person. So I'm blessed.
absolutely
I'm lucky to have her, and
agreed.
we're both lucky guys.
I am incredibly
Yeah, you read it. You read the
I
message.
read
Yeah, yeah, you read the message. Yeah.
uh you know what the worst part is, Jeff, is that I started seeing TikToks this last couple of weeks about the ARP is now on TikTok, and they're doing stuff from the 90s and calling it classic rock and all, you know, old time stuff, and I'm like, I will fight you. The 90s were like a week ago. Shut
Yeah,
up.
for us, yes. Like
Yeah.
because I see some of the shows that we grew up watching and everything, and I'm like, God, it's like over 30 years that this show been out.
Right. How was that 30 years ago? How in the hell
Yeah.
did that happen 30 years ago? Yeah.
Oh man.
It's
Yes.
crazy.
It is. Yes. Yes, we're all in the same 47 club. Yes, all of us. But no, man. Jeff is another one who's been wonderful. Who's really been inspiring and he's doing some great stuff. He's got some ideas that are revolutionary. Like he's really got some ideas that for podcasting and what he wants to do and his vision for podcasting. It's like, oh man, it's amazing. It's amazing to really be able to sit down and watch him work. Like when he puts International Podcast Day together,
Jeff's a
it's
smart dude.
oh, it's great to see him work behind the scenes and host the event and do everything. And this past year, I had the honor of co-hosting with Maria Daniels and Jeff, and it was crazy because that same day, my aunt had passed away, and the only one that knew was Maria,
Oh wow,
and not even Jeff, only Maria knew, and
I didn't realize that.
and for me, it was like being with my family, my podcasting family, helped me get through that day. It was like one of those days where you wouldn't realize that I was going through whatever I was going through because I was with my podcasting family.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah, and it was a wonderful day, man. Yes, I lost my wife, my aunt that day, but my sister had because my sister called me earlier that day, and she's like, "Listen, do what you got to do." She knew I was hosting the event, and she's like, "We're here, me and Mama here representing the family. You do what you love, and do your show, and we're here repping the family." So I went on, did the show, did the we did like 12 hours that day, Jeff. What was it? 12 hours? It was a 12-hour day, and it was a
Yeah,
great day, man. It was just some great content, some great shows. Just being in that environment and watching podcasters do what they do and love what they're doing. It's just a wonderful experience. Yes, 12 hours nonstop, Jeff. Yes, it was.
that's right.
But that's why I love this community, man. That's why I love you guys. You guys are amazing. I have a again, like a lot of us, we haven't even met face to face. We've done mostly virtual events and virtual communication and all that. But it's like you still build some great relationships even through Zoom or StreamYard or whatever it is that you're using to communicate with each other.
No, absolutely. You know, yeah, we still have cool conversations. I mean, we've had so many opportunities, to sit down and chat over video,
Yeah,
and I think I've probably talked to you guys in our little pod community more than I have some members of my family over the last few years. So,
yeah,
just saying.
yeah. No,
Some of
like
that's by choice, but that's also not that's a
some of it,
topic
yeah,
for
some of it
topic for another time.
for another show. Yeah, we're here to. But man, look at time just has flown by. I appreciate you being on the show, brother. But now you get the
Absolutely.
screen where you get to plug away. Let them know where they can find everything FSF and whatever else you got going on.
All right. Well, hi, I'm Tim. So I'm the host of the FSF POPCAST. So I'm usually flanked by Kathleen Wass and Ben Riley. They're my co-host, and John Wass is our editor. And sometimes he makes appearances on camera at least once a month on our monthly Star Wars RPG night. But yeah, that happens the second Monday of every month. Come visit us. You can find us right here on YouTube at FSF Popcast. Actually, all social medias at just at FSF POPcast. So the FSF Popcast. And we're your all nerdy, no dirty sci-fi and pop culture nerds. We just like to talk and have some fun. So come find us there. And you can find me, Tim Beisiegel, over on couchsoup.com, which is a really cool website for different aspects and articles and podcasts and interviews and all things pop culture. But yeah, so that's really cool. Go check out couchsoup.com. A lot of great articles. Some mediocre ones written by me, but we'll give it a try anyway. But yeah, check them out. And thanks to Wise for letting me come here and play in his sandbox for a little while. I can't hear you, Wise. You're muted.
I tend to do that. No, I tend to mute myself and without you can't hear me over the mic. But
You're not a podcaster if you don't mute yourself at least once during your own show.
yeah, and it happened. It's happened at least once every show. It has to happen once.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's It's my pleasure to have you on. It's been my pleasure to have you on the show, man. Like I said, I consider you a good friend of mine, uh, and
Likewise.
always looking forward to having you on the show. It's always my pleasure to have you on the show. I, I'm just excited for what 2024 has for everyone, man. I want to see, like I said, 2023. I've seen a lot of growth in everybody's show. I've seen a lot of you guys really take off and really make just continue to kill it, man. You guys are really doing amazing stuff, and I'm watching you guys, and I'm proud of you guys, and just continue to do what you're doing, guys, man.
Yeah, thank
Y'all
you.
rock.
Thank
Definitely
you.
rock,
Thank
man.
you. One more thing that I forgot to promote, and we haven't really officially announced it yet. But on March 4th, we have a massive event coming. We're gonna make the official announcement here in a couple days, so watch out for that. All I will say is that it's Star Trek related, and it's going to be a massive event on March 4th on the FSF Popcast. But
Oh,
follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, wherever you get your social media, and you'll see the announcement.
and I will definitely share it on my platforms when the
Oh,
announcement does
thanks,
come
man.
out.
Thank you.
Um, I'm-
Yeah, we are very, very excited. It's going to be both fun and charitable. Let's just put it that way.
awesome, awesome. That's it's always a good thing when you give back to the community and do. That's why I love when Mick does his telethons and he has his charity
Yeah,
events. I love being a part of that. I love being able to give back to the community. So it's always a
it's a great
great
thing.
time. It's always a great time when you can do something and give back, man. Definitely give something back to the community and help people at the same time. And that's what stuck in my mind. Podcast is about is trying to help and inspire and 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 that's the goal. That's always been my goal is to really help and inspire. So,
Well, you're doing it.
but thank you,
You are
brother.
doing it.
I
You are
appreciate
doing
it.
it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Like I said, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Don't leave just yet. Let me just close out the show. We chat a little bit off air, but thank you, brother. I greatly appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, everybody. That was another great show. I I've always have a great time talking to Tim. For those that don't know, the Snobbies Awards when they first came out, it was me and Tim battling for best um motivational or self-development, whatever it was, podcast. And I narrowly beat him out. But his show, Focus on Forward, was an amazing show. So I was honored to be able to be in the same breath as his show. So his show was just as great as mine. So it was great to be able to compete with my brother and really it meant a lot for me that I was even held in the same regard as his podcast. So it's been a great 3.5, 4 years of getting to build these relationships and getting to know everybody. And I'm very grateful for everyone out there who's supporting the show. Jeffrey Villa, Jeff DeWaskin, Maria Daniels, everybody else in the indie podcast, and especially in the group chat, the land of misfit podcasters. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Big shout out to my real wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Shout out to the boss lady. Appreciate you and everything you do for me. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless you. Be safe. You know your boy Wise does it. Peace out.